Coming up in this episode, testing our spinning roof rack chops by flying a training mission with 202 Squadron from RAF Valley. Hello and welcome to Dreams of Wings, and welcome here to RAF Valley, where we are going to be doing a training mission, search and rescue training mission, using the Hyper Performance Group H145 with the Action Pack expansion. And here we are using a repaint of the 202 Squadron Jupiter HT1, otherwise known as the H145, as it's very appropriate to what we're going to be doing. Essentially, we're going to be taking off here from Anglesey. We're going to be flying on a custom mission that I've put together into Snowdonia, and we're going to be rescuing a practice casualty, is that the word? Just off the side of Tryfan, where we've got a nice little lake, which I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce, and give us a bit of a chance to practice some winching and that sort of thing. So, I think we should just get flying, don't you? Rightio, let's get going. So, first thing to point out, the more observant of you might have noticed that all the helicopters here have got the same tail number. That's because with the fantastic High Performance Group scenario editor, you can inject other aircraft using the same skin as the one that you're in. Or rather, you can inject other aircraft and it happens to be the same skin as the one that you're in at the moment. So I just added those just for atmosphere. But yes, it's the same tail number. I'm aware of that. Thank you. Right. Okay. So I'm going to use my new magic switch. There we go. That I've now set up because it's a bit easier. I do kind of prefer the immersion of sticking my head over and doing that, because that's a bit more realistic, but sometimes, especially on startup, it's a bit easier to do it this way. So I'm just looking at this now, waiting for the power up test OK to appear. There we go. Good. Right, let's go back up here. Let's get some illumination on, just so everyone knows that we're about to do something. We want the prime pump on. And at this stage, we don't need anything else on, do we? No. Okay. Let's start with engine 1 to idle. Just having a look down at the instruments. Make sure everything's going to plan. This is always a good moment to have a sip of tea. Okay, everything's looking good. Let's go for engine 2. And just keep an eye on that. There is more realism built into this aircraft now, so you do have to be a little bit careful how you whap it about. That's a technical helicopter type phrase. Right, so quick check, yeah, we are okay, everything's good. So now we can have prime pump off, transfer pump on, battery, standby battery on, avionics on. How's everything looking? Still good. We'll have the pitot heat on, LAVCS to pilot. You notice the pilot model there disappears when it kind of knows it's getting in the way, which is quite clever. Okay, startup test okay. We'll now put the engine to flight out of idle. Close that off. We are going to be rescuing someone here, so we don't want to hang about. Now's the time to open the tablet. Now, if I then go to mission, you can see I've actually already connected to it. What we do is you go here, wrong one. You go to library and you click on connect to scenario editor on my PC, and then that's when it all shows up beautifully, and we can see this magenta line here is just another little indication that everything is working as it should do. So we are on mission. What have we got? We've got a 14 knot wind coming from 292, so basically from that direction there. So we want to be we're going to hover taxi, and we want to be taking off into that. I have got a new build, so I've not flown this build yet, so this could be interesting. Well, you'll certainly find it interesting. Let's just have a quick look up here. There we go. Just check everything is where it should be, and I've not done anything silly. Let's have the strobe on. Let's have the landing light on. Right. Just reset the head tracking. This is the wonderful Grass Monkey Monkey King Puck system that I'm using now to replace my broken track IR, and it works an absolute treat. It's incredibly smooth, and do you know what? I'm going to shut up and fly. We're meant to be saving lives. We're meant to be saving lives, boys, aren't we? Yeah, not me waffling. Right, let's go. Concentrate. Right, let's just take the cyclic trim out. Always easier to fly like this with the cyclic trim off. Right, just check nothing's coming. Let's just hover taxi over this way. And then, seeing as we are simulating an emergency, we're not going to hang about. We are just going to almost use the taxiway as our takeoff run, and safely take off over water. I know that they're not using that runway today. I say they're not using that runway. Oh look, there's the net, emergency net for stopping jets that have had issues with brakes and that sort of thing. So let's come back over here. Yeah, I have got multiplayer on today, so there are aircraft in the area, so I do have to be a little bit careful. Good old Asobo model matching. There were two F-16s flying around just before, but rather than match them with something like the Hawk or the F-18 even, which is you know, a default Asobo aircraft, no, they were Airbuses. So there were two Airbuses travelling very fast, doing formation passes and all sorts of things, which looked absolutely ridiculous. But there you go. That's kind of where we're at with the model matching at the moment. Join FS, one of the great advantages of that in P3D was that you could actually tell it what you wanted it to be. So to a certain extent you can mitigate that sort of thing, but they haven't quite done it here. Okay, off we go. So there's the magenta line. The magenta line is giving us the fastest route to our casualty. It's not necessarily the route that we're going to fly. Hang on a minute, you're saying? Surely if that's the fastest route, shouldn't that be the route we're taking? Well, it is if we go over the top of the mountains, but that would be boring. This is a training exercise. There's no one really in danger. So what we're going to do is we're going to head over to Bethesda and fly up the valley. So it's not actually that far. We can put the let's put the cyclic trim back on now, because we can do that now that we're... Oh, there we go. Left hand and the old muscle memory wasn't working. I was pressing the wrong switch. Never a good thing. And everything's tickety-boo back down there again. I have to say, absolute respect to the lads and lasses that are learning to do this for real. Flying helicopters really is a whole new ball game, and even with these modern aids that we have in helicopters like this, which you can turn off, by the way, if you want to have a more seat of the pants experience. Flying helicopters is a very tricky business. Anyone who has watched my infamous Huey DCS video where I took the Huey for a flight without having read the manual, which, let's face it, is a pretty stupid thing to do, well, no, it is quite a challenge, but good fun nonetheless, and I do need to revisit that sometime now that I've got my rotary wings a little bit more under my skin. But yeah, it is a whole new skill set, and I do like to once in a while jump back into this and do a flight like this, plan a little practice rescue mission, because it just kind of hones a few skills, especially hovering. You can use automatic modes in this to give you a better hover, but quite stupidly, and certainly not arrogantly, I'd like to do it manually, because I'm not very good, and I need all the practice I can get before I let the old computer take over. But yeah, it is absolutely wonderful, this, and nice to be flying the 202 squadron markings as well, which this aircraft is based at Valley, so it's great to be doing that. I have actually sat in a 202 helicopter in real life, but when I did it, it was a Sea-King doing the real life search and rescue role up at RAF Lossiemouth, and I didn't really endear myself to the pilot, because I decided to ask him what his thoughts were on a good attack profile anti-tank in an Apache would be, and bless him, I can still remember his look, which was a mixture of exasperation and trying to be polite, and I think he just said something like, well, you'd probably want to go in low and use the ground as cover, and yeah, quite right. So I spent a fair bit of time in my youth in this area, more kind of up the coast a little bit, but I was fortunate enough to climb Tryfan a few times, and even camped at the point that we are going to now to do our rescue. Okay, let's come over this way a bit more now. There's the valley. A lot of slate mining goes on in this area, and that's probably what we can see over there. I am guessing it's a slate mine. Oh, that's interesting. This is actually, I don't know if you've heard of Zip World. That's where they have that great long zip line. This is it. We are just about to fly over it. Zip line not included, but you too can go flying over that if you so wish. Right, and this is where we want to be going up here, so I need to start concentrating a little bit, because really at the head of this valley you can just see there, this is where our target is. Tryfan is just to the left, hidden by the valley side here. So they'll all be standing there thinking, oh, there he is, he's on his way. Safety is near. Ain't that right? Yeah, see, I think I'm getting more confidence from the crew these days. Yeah? You think, you feeling confident? You want to think about it? Okay. Yeah, I think the crew possibly getting a little bit more confident. Let's gain a little of attitude, and there we have a good example of the incredibly annoying horizontal horizon line that we seem to be getting in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Don't know if you can see it, but they still haven't fixed it, and yeah, it's pretty annoying. Right. Let's get our concentration on. So, I'm going to switch or take the cyclic trim off. Just get that back on track, getting blown a little bit by the wind. So I'm now going to click on switch to hoisting, just so that that's ready, so I can start concentrating. Looking for, I know I put an orange tent there as a sort of a marker. There it is. Right, let's just bring her in gently. Getting buffeted by the wind a little bit. There's the door opening. Let's see where Milado is. There he goes. Right, let's focus on flying, please. Right, there we go. He is now down. Let's get the trim back off again. We'll just see if we can see him. He's thinking, blimey, no, you didn't half drop me away from the from where we need to be, mate. Let's just back away and see if we can observe things a little bit. Getting buffeted by this wind. Certainly gives you an idea of the scale, just how small those people are down there. Actually lost sight of our chap, but when he's ready, we'll get a little indication in the thing there. I think he might actually be with a casualty.
100 feet.
I can see him working on him. Holds the hover here. We're getting buffeted around quite a bit. Reminds me a little of formation flying this. It's almost like meditation. You're having to focus so much on it, and me talking there. Oh, there's our chap. Blimey, I did leave him a long way away. He's only just got to the patient. You can always hear him tutting from here. Listen, mate, this is emergency. If you want me to get to the patient, don't drop me halfway across the valley. So, yeah, boring fact, I camped just over there. It was great fun. And then climbed up there. Focus, hold her steady. So we're not using the hover autopilot or anything like that here. This is all kind of hand flown with the cyclic trim off, just to keep my hand in. That's why we're moving around quite a bit. You can use the built-in features of the real aircraft to stabilise it and make life a little bit easier. And let's face it, that would probably be the sensible thing to do. But no, I'm not doing that because I'm a glutton for punishment. And also it's probably a bit more entertaining for you, me doing this, isn't it? Because if I do it wrong, you get to laugh. Right, there we go. So our chap has just stood up and we're now ready to hoist. So I'm going to get back in. Oh, I see, because we're already in the vicinity, pretty much, it's already started. So let's jump to the... Oh. There we go, we've loaded him in. Let's go. So you don't have to get quite exactly over him to pick him up. Which I guess makes it a little bit easier. For some reason I thought maybe you had to. Maybe there's a setting somewhere, but... we were pretty close. Right, let's get to the hospital. The tour is something to look at. So while we're doing this, quick mention, we have a Discord. Put the link down below. We do group flights, you can post screenshots, you can talk about aeroplanes, you can talk about anything aviation, you can talk about anything sim. There's a community help section if there's anything that you finding a bit tricky or you want to know a bit more about. Whack a question in there. We have some incredibly knowledgeable people in the community, and I do not include myself in that. I'm quite often asking questions myself, and lucky to have people like that on board who can assist. So please do feel free to join up. Okay, so we're on the way to the helicopter hospital now. Just coming, as you can see, got Bethesda over there, and now we have the patient on board. He is there. You right, fella? Yeah, he's all right. He's thinking, blimey neck, I could have been on here a lot earlier if you hadn't planted your fella halfway up the mountain. It wasn't quite that bad, but One of the interesting things about doing a flight like this is it almost assesses your weaknesses straight away. So I can, having done that trip, straight away I know what I need to do to get it right next time. So it's always worth doing this kind of thing, and I keep saying to myself I should be doing this more often, because I do love this helicopter and I do love doing these flights, but I have been a bit wrapped up recently doing some warbird flying, so not really had a chance. So just up ahead we've got the hospital. Because I planted the helicopter landing or hospital drop-off waypoint in the scenario editor there, you can see that we've got some orange smoke, which of course we wouldn't have in real life, but it certainly helps in the sim. One of the things that you never quite know, of course, is that the scenery that's providing us with the landing pad here is just it is just stock MSFS scenery. So God forbid we've got a tree or a building sticking in the middle of it or something like that. We're about to find out. Very lucky with Inverness. Inverness has got a lovely clear landing pad in the sim. I've not had a look at this. This is Gwynedd Hospital. Yeah, Gwynedd Hospital. So let's have a look and see what we've got in the way of a landing pad here. So once again, I'm going to take the cyclic trim off. Stand by, chaps. Oh, that looks okay. We've got trees just over here, so I'm just going to bring us over a bit. Because again, we want to be landing into wind. So let's just slow us down. Not too much, matey, not too much. I was going into a hover there. Right, there we go. Okay. That isn't bad. It looks like there's something. It looks like there might be some small trees to the left, which could make life a little bit more difficult, but let's have a look. Let's go in for a closer look and see what we've got. Yes, we're into wind. Yeah, there are some trees just on the left of the landing pad, so what I'm going to have to do is try and avoid those. Right, I'm going to shut up and start concentrating. Out for those trees. Step it over a bit. Bring it round. It is so much easier doing this in VR because your situational awareness is that much better. Right, I think we're okay with the trees now. I'm just going to land here on the pad just to make sure we're a safe distance. Just bring it forward a bit though, so that we can get the casualty out. Right, that's okay for me. Right, let's close down. Bring the engines to idle. And let's hop outside. Farewell, my friend. Thank you for flying. Trying to think of a Monty Python Airways is the only thing that comes to mind. Right, so we've ceremoniously dumped our casualty over there in the weeds. Well, he did volunteer to do this, and we are now good to go. Everything is looking here. We just need to wait for that to change from wait for crew to unload patient into the bushes to everything is tickety-boo or similar kind of words. Close the doors, mate, it's getting cold. He's getting back in. Well done, fella. Ooh, and now it's saying return to base. I didn't realise I'd set up an endpoint. So we get to do a bit more flying. Let's go. Oh, stand by, idiot. I was going to end the video here because I didn't realise I'd put an endpoint on it. Okay, everything good. Let's go. Hang on, still in idle. No, it's out of idle now. Right, let's watch the trees. You lucky people, you get extra time flying. Check the wind. Need to turn this way a bit. There we go. And we bid farewell to Gwynedd Hospital and our lucky volunteer, who probably won't be jumping at doing that again, I shouldn't think. Should we go and have a look at the Menai Bridge? Let's go and have a look at the Menai Bridge, because the Sobo have modelled it in the sim. And quite nicely done too. Right, back to the mess, boys, for a mug of tea or something stronger if you feel like it. So how do you think that went? Joe, I detect a faint bit of a smile on that hard, steely visage, my friend. I think you enjoyed that a little bit. So, one of the things I do need to be a little bit careful of is that I do have multiplayer mode on, so I don't want to mess up anyone else's flight by doing anything particularly stupid. I have not got labels on because I just think it kind of kills the realism a bit, but of course we're not connected to air traffic control either, so I've got to try and keep an eye out for people. I have got the landing lights still on, just so that I show up a little bit, and hopefully we shouldn't have too many issues. I think one of the things about flying multiplayer is the last thing you want to do is get in someone else's way, especially if someone is doing some really serious kind of flying. The last thing you want is some idiot showing up right at the point that you don't need them. I've been in that position before where you're doing a beautiful approach. It's been a tricky approach maybe, weather not too great, so you're really having to work hard, and bang, someone spawns right on the runway in an Airbus, and you think, great, that's that messed up. On the other hand, it is great seeing other aircraft in the sim, so I'm not moaning. So there is Valley up ahead. Seeing anything around and about? I'm not seeing anything. I'll tell you what I am going to do though. I'm going to quickly put labels on just to see what's there. Just one ping only. Okay. So we've got a little bit. Yeah, okay. Apologies to any fans of Sean Connery for that terrible impression. I'm sure everyone has a Sean Connery, and mine's probably one of the worst. Yes, I am a famous Scottish-Russian submarine captain. Stop it, stop it. We're getting into the realms of talking French now. Next thing I'll be talking Welsh. Still not seeing anything, trying to keep a reasonable lookout. Need to be careful of the wind. So we need to kind of do an approach not dissimilar to the direction that we exited on. Just having a look over here at the old mappage. Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, I can see now from the scenario editor where I put the endpoint. Totally forgot I did that. Solar farm down there. It's clever, really, isn't it? When you think about it, the sim knows that there's a solar farm there because it can see it, and so it puts solar panels on the ground. That is clever. Okay, so we've got smoke as well, our endpoint. That's just made life a bit easier. Right, let's just do a quick ping. One ping only. Shut up. Oh, I need to select this window, don't I? Select the window and then do it. Oh, we've got a few. We've got some F-15s. Of course, Valley, famously a base for F-15s. And there's an F-16 down there as well, which, God forbid, is going to appear as an Airbus. So you will have to use your imagination as far as the aircraft goes, because Lord knows what MSFS is going to substitute as an F-15 if it was substituting Airbuses in place of F-16s. Anyway, so got quite a nice view there of the dispersal in front of the buildings. That's where we need to be parking up. I am going to have to cross the active runway here, so I am in danger of really ruining someone's flight. So let's just have a quick look. Flying into wind. Right, let's get your noggin out the way, fella. Can't see anything. There's nothing that way. Okay. So our altitude, so we're at 250 feet. So we're not really going to get in anyone's way at this this altitude. If we just pop across, there we go. There's our F-16 Airbus variant, famously used in the European theatre to fool the enemy into thinking that it's not a fighter jet, it's actually a passenger jet. Who needs stealth when you can appear as a Airbus? So we're just going to gently tootle over here. I don't think I'm going to get in his way, because being an F-16 at any point he's going to light the fires and he will be well out of our way. But what I will do actually is I'm just going to tweak us over this way a bit. There we go. Just in case he puts the afterburner on and tries to go vertical or anything, we can keep a nice safe distance from him. Okay, we're clear of the runway now. We can drop down a bit more. Start slowing up a bit more. Watch that rate of descent, my boy. Smoke shows us where we need to be going. That parking spot just there. Side shufty is a technical term from the Royal Air Force Helicopter Flying School. I don't want to baffle you with jargon or anything, but you know, got to use the correct phraseology. I think that is the sound of the F-16 going off. Right, there he goes. Oh no! Oh, what have we got? Don't get distracted. Fly the damn aeroplane. Honestly, got completely distracted then, and we meant to be performing a landing. Get back on track. Now got the aircraft side onto the wind, so a little bit more resistance now, but I'm just trying to get somewhere near the circle. Hopeless. Way off. Way off. You're not going to leave that there, matey. Let's back her up. There is actually a tail boom camera in this now, which you can use. And if I wasn't concentrating so much on using the cyclic in the collective at the moment, I would probably switch it on just to make life a bit easier, but let's come back in. Where's my landing? Let's use that one as a, give us an idea. Shafty across a little bit. Oh, that's why life is so difficult, because I've got the damn cyclic trim on. Right, let's take that off, which is a bit dangerous at low altitude because you don't know what the aeroplane's going to do. There we go. Now we can start moving. See, that is actually a good example of why it's so much easier to fly if you take the cyclic trim off, because instead of flying it, you're constantly almost fighting the cyclic trim. Right, let's use that one again. Oof. It's definitely a lot more sprightly when you haven't got the trim in, and that's something you have to be a little bit wary of. We're over a bit. Let's look at the horizon just to... There we go. Sometimes you can get... See, as soon as I look down, fighting that wind a little bit. Right, let's just ease it over. There we go. A little bit rough, but we got there in the end. Wow. Okay, let's just put the engines to idle. So, thank you ever so much for joining the flight. I hope you had a good time. Hope you enjoyed it. Please, if you enjoyed it, don't forget, give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this kind of thing. It helps the channel grow, and I am very grateful. And there's our smoke still going. So, thanks for joining, and I shall see you again on the channel soon. Look at that. Mission complete. Let's submit a report, see if we get a gold star. Do you think we'll get a gold star? Yeah, I don't think so. Cheers now.